Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie. I am going to make 3 cards using the White Christmas Gnomes die cuts. They're embossed die cuts, and this White Christmas Basics pack. The colouring is just so pretty and just so gorgeous. So I'm going to make 3. There is, of course, lots of little embellishments, embossed die cuts in this pack, and I'm just loving them. There's going to be lots of little fun Christmassy cards coming that I'm going to make with these. I can just feel it. So I'm just having a look through and just trying to figure out which ones I like to use. So first off, we've got this little gnome with a bell. I'm also going to grab a little flower embellishment. Now this one, there are so many pretty ones. There absolutely is. But I don't like to hide my little embellishments and my die cuts and everything else behind my focal image. I like to get more bang for my buck out of my little embossed die cuts because they're so pretty. I buy them because they're so pretty. I love them. So I don't particularly want to hide that behind anything else, basically. This is the Australian size A3. They're not A3 because the A3 would be huge, but Australian card bases. So these fit our card bases, and I'm using the second largest. I've trimmed the paper down just to make it easy to go through my big shot. I'm going to get a little bit of a layout. Now, these are so pretty. They're just so pretty, these papers. So I'm not going to hide too much on these papers because they don't need it. They just don't need it. Trim this little bouquet in half. I've got this present. I'm not actually going to use him for this particular card. I've just trimmed off some of the little tags that hold it all together on the sheet when you buy it. I'm just trying to figure out a layout that I'm happy with. Something that's going to be suitable to the eye, shall we say. Yeah, this present wasn't doing for me on this particular card. This guy is the Fancy Script Small Merry Christmas, and I'm going to cut him out of this glossy silver cardstock. And this is going to blend in nicely with the tones that we've got with all the nice soft blues and greys and the white. The shadow has been cut out of a little bit of vellum, and this cardstock, or the silver mirror cardstock, I already had a little bit of, it was a rough cut, so it's already got a little bit of like sticky back, double-sided tape sort of thing, sticky back paper. So it makes it very easy to adhere it all down. I don't have to worry about glue oozing out and then coming up onto the vellum and all that sort of mess. I've put a little bit of foam on the back of these. These are actually just out of my stash. I needed a little bit of extra support for that bouquet, or that half a bouquet of flowers, I should say. And I tend to use all of it. I've bought the whole thing of foam. I'm going to use every single last skerrick of it. Just trying to make sure that all my sharp edges are behind my gnome. See, you've probably got at least like 1.5 centimeters there that we would have lost. And it's a decent size bouquet, but it's just not, it loses something. So I want to get the most out of it. With this Merry Christmas, I'm going to put a little dab of glue behind the wording. And I just want to make sure it's nice and just thin, not too big. This way it's going to ooze out into areas and hide. It's not going to ooze out into areas that is going to be seen by the vellum. I was just trying to figure out this cardstock and whether I wanted that or whether I wanted white. So all these cards, because I like it be matchy-matchy. I don't always do it, but... And then I photograph it and I'm like, I like the cards, but it's a bit harder to photograph them. So we're going to keep it all nice and simple today. That is pretty much my card. The only thing I'm going to come back to later on is I'm going to put a little bit extra stickles, silver stickles on it, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. This is just some more foam on the back of, I'm running out of my roll of foam here. It raises it up. It doesn't have a lot of dimension, but it's just going to raise it up a little bit just to make sure it has a little bit of dimension, a little bit of fun to it, because sometimes the flat cards, I just like them with a bit of dimension. You do you, boo, but that's card number 1. I've already trimmed this down and I've decided I'm going to use the back. It's one sheet. So I'm going to use the back of this other panel as a feature point. So the double-sided paper. So this way you can mix and match without actually cutting into too many of your papers and use the papers for something else. I like that idea. I have another little accordion style gnome here. This is the Merry Christmas. It's got lots of little foiled, it's an A5 pack. Lots of little foil sentiments for Christmas. It includes gold, silver, rose gold, black with white writing and white with black writing, including sentiments like Christmas wishes, Christmas hugs, Merry Christmas, of course, in quite a few different fonts. And I've used a lot of these A5 sheet packs before, and you really get so many. I've got one including Crisp Christmas, and I've been using it for a couple of years now. Like we would be talking about 3 years, and including I've used them in card classes where I've taught in class, and so you've got quite a few, probably 12 odd people all using the same pack, and it's still going. So they're really good bang for your buck. I've adhered that down in the center of it, just trying to eyeball him. I'm not too worried if it's a little bit off center. It's all going to add some fun and games. I've got a little T-ruler that's going to help me apply my sentiment nice and straight. After applying a little bit of foam tape, I've also used a little bit of glue. This is going to give me a little bit of wriggle room that I can lift it up and straighten it. I've only put a strip of foam tape down the very center, so this is going to allow me to tuck my little gnome dude down behind. Another flower bouquet, and again we're going to trim that up. There's a pattern to me doing this. I always do this. As I said, I'm just going to make my elements stretch that little bit further. I was going to use this present, but yet again, I was going to say that I was going to use this flower bouquet, but we're going to go for the presents instead. I think I got my cards mixed up. Anywho, again, I've trimmed off some of these presents. I'm going to trim down this a little bit just to help him tuck in. And that is going to be card number 2, pretty much done. Again, a little bit of stickles. We're going to come in with a little bit of stickles just to... Christmas cards need a bit of bling. Is it just me? I like Christmas cards, and it doesn't completely feel done until you have a little bit of glittery goodness. This is where I was thinking, do I need a white? Do I need the grey? I need the grey. So they're all going to be grey. today. Adhere that down with a little bit of tacky craft glue. And this is where I've got my silver stickles. I'm basically just dabbing it in between just different areas on the... Yet another family member arrived home, so forgive me if you heard that bang or heard my husband call out, but anywho, I am adding a little bit of silver stickles just on the Christmas tree and on the holly, and then this particular one is again just through his hat and a little bit through the bouquet of flowers. The last card we're going to do is another card. Well, of course it's another card, because that's what I do. I do cards. I don't do scrapbooking, but who knows? This is a little off piece out of one of the other papers that I trimmed up, so I thought let's use him, and he was the perfect size to add along the bottom, add a bit of landing for my gnome. Again, I'm going to bring in the tea ruler. I didn't really need to because it's nice and it's already been trimmed down with a guillotine. Using a bit of glue, this is the A5 Merry Christmas Sentiment Pack with the silver because it just goes so well with the papers. Next, I've got a little saxophone playing gnome. Again, he's so cute. There is a real theme, I should say, with my Christmas cards. With the cards that I die cut, that they always have a little bit of extra, and I'm going to use all my pieces. You can see here, there's a tiny little slither. Now I did need to use a bit of foam to help him stick down, and I'm just adjusting it to make sure that all my sharp corners are all covered. A little bit of glue just to make sure he is stuck down nice and securely to each other. It's not just the foam. And he's going to tuck in behind my little strip of paper. And then once we've adhered all my flowery bouquets to the card panel, and that's going to be pretty much it. Again, a little bit of stickles, and that's it. So if you like what you see, there's lots of fun things planned for next year. So hit the subscribe button, interact with the channel. That really helps with the algorithm and just getting more exposure, I'm going to say. Anyway, I hope you have a great Christmas. I will see you just before Christmas again, but with a slightly different card. That's it for me today. I hope you're well. Take care. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.